What's up guys, Coach Az here, and I have to start today's video with an apology. One of my students said to me, Az, I'm loving the YouTube stuff, loving what you're doing, really enjoying the striker breakdowns. He said, but I don't understand. You're a kickboxing coach. Why are you only doing MMA fighters? Okay, hands up, I apologize. Today we're going to cover a kickboxing world champion, the great Rico Verhoeven. Now, if you're not aware of Rico Verhoeven because you're a big MMA fan, maybe you're not deep into combat sports, then go check him out. He is a Glory kickboxing champion. So Glory is the association that he fights under. And I do believe he has defended the heavyweight championships now 10 times, including winning it, making it 11-time heavyweight world champion. He's from the Netherlands, so he's got that classic Dutch kickboxing style, and although he's referred to as the king of kickboxing, I prefer to refer to him as the king of basics. He's a truly fundamental focused fighter. He's got a pressuring style, he likes to push forward on his opponents, but you're not going to see him doing anything particularly flashy. He just does the basics really well. So let's get into it. As always, we're going to talk about his stance, his guard, footwork, punches, kicks, combinations, and those intangibles that make him the fighter that he is. So we've already touched on his style, but if you're unfamiliar with the idea of Dutch kickboxing and that whole style of fighting, really the idea is that you're standing at range with your opponent and you're exchanging. It's not so much about footwork and moving around the ring, it's more about finding the range, using tight defenses in terms of your guard, head movement and checks, and throwing strong, sharp combinations, punches up to the head and body, and especially the leg kicks. In regards to his stance, he's typically orthodox, although in his later career and the more his fights have progressed, he's certainly started utilizing a few southpaw weapons, and we'll talk about how he sets those up and how he uses them within the fight. He stays relatively flat-footed, and by that I don't mean by any means that he's plodding or meandering around the ring. I just mean that, like I said, he's the kind of fighter who's going to step forward onto you, hold the ground and apply the pressure. He adopts that classic high Dutch guard. Again, the defenses are super tight. Arms up, elbows in, protecting the head and the body. On the rare occasions where people are able to pressure him backwards, you will see him adopt a kind of adapted Philly shell and utilize a bit more head movement to try and avoid big shots up against the ropes. But generally speaking, Rico likes to hold the middle of the ring, hold the center of the space, keep his guard tight and pressure his opponents backwards. In terms of fakes and feints, he keeps it pretty simple. He likes to do a lot of what we call soft feints with the hands. Soft feints meaning he's not trying to get a huge big reaction out of you. He's not trying to make you flinch or move your guard into a certain position. He's just giving you constant small movements so that you can't really track where the hands are coming from or which hand he's going to throw with first. Rico has a particularly strong lead hand jab. In fact, he relatively keeps his punch combos pretty short and he works behind that jab a lot of the time. Often it's just a single shot. He'll throw that strong jab straight up the middle, split that guard and hit through the center. You can often see him doubling it up, but this is often to try and set up bigger shots like his cross or his lead hook later on when he starts to build momentum up in the fight. As I said, he's the king of basics, so you're going to see him particularly throwing very basic fundamental boxing combinations. Jab cross, hook cross, jab cross hook. He tends to keep his punches going upstairs and uses his kicks to attack both the legs and the lower body. He tends to focus more on straight punches. He'll occasionally throw a hook, especially if he's trying to set up a leg kick, but when he gets in close, he's actually working far more with his legs and with a knee within the clinch rather than working those hooks in the body or coming round to the side of the head. I mentioned earlier in the video that he's been playing more with southpaw, but really what it is he has a few tricks that he likes to use, in particular in an open stance against an orthodox opponent. What I mean by that, in case any of you are unsure, if I fight in left stance and I'm orthodox and my opponent is in left stance as well, we are in what's called a closed stance fight. It basically means that we're both adopting the same stance. Now what that means is certain techniques are going to be easier to hit and certain techniques are going to be a lot more difficult to hit. So for example, if you throw your back arm cross orthodox to orthodox, it's going to have a slightly different line of attack as if one of you was southpaw. So by switching your stance, by taking yourself into southpaw, you can slightly change the direction or line of attack and you can make it more unpredictable for your opponent. Rico will often do this with his cross, so he'll throw what would be his cross, but he'll turn it into a jab by either stepping through with it or by simply switching the stance and throwing it as the lead hand. Alright, let's start by talking about his kicking game, and I'm going to work from the bottom to the top, starting with what he does with leg kicks. I said in the punching section of this video that he doesn't tend to throw a lot of hooks when in close range. In fact, what Rico likes to do is work his way in with the hands and then work leg kicks in range. The beauty of this, of course, is when you're up in nice and close, you're really getting that shin bone to connect in onto that thigh. Maximum amount of damage and less risk for you in terms of not risking breaking your foot or hurting your instep. You've got that big baseball bat shin bone to strike into the thigh. Also, by applying that forward pressure with the hands and getting his opponent on the back foot, as in moving backwards, it makes it more difficult for them to lift their legs up to check. It means that it's a far safer way for him to throw the kick than simply trying to throw it at range, where his opponent is going to be more on balance and more able to read the kick coming and more likely to check it. Rico also likes to use these leg kicks to disrupt his opponent's combinations. So whilst his guard is tight and defending upstairs, he'll look for an opening within his opponent's combo to shoot either an inside or outside leg kick, throwing his opponent off balance and forcing them to reset and focus on their defense, interrupting their forward attack. One of his signature moves is being able to attack the inside of the rear leg. Now, this is a really difficult technique in order to hit, especially when you're working again in that close stance. So left stance to left stance. What it effectively means that you're trying to do is with your lead leg, you're trying to go past and get on the inside of the legs and hit to the inside knee of the back leg. Now, this part of the leg in particular is not conditioned for being kicked, at least a lot less than the rest. If you think about it, you fight out of left stance all the time. You've probably eaten a lot of kicks to the outside of your lead leg, to the inside of your lead leg, and if you're fighting really good opponents, you might have got a few to the outside of the back leg. But it's extremely difficult to get this inside rear leg kick. So I've seen him floor people with it, where they just aren't used to receiving a kick to that point, and he's so accurate with it. So rare does he get any warnings for low blows where he'll accidentally hit the groin. He's really accurate and precise at landing just above that knee. Alright, let's talk a little bit about body kicks. Now, body kicks is where this whole switching stance thing comes in big for Rico. What Rico likes to do is he likes to use his teep, his front kick, off of his back leg. And more often than not, he likes to then land that kick in front. So what that means is he starts left stance, he kicks with that right leg, lands it in front, and this is going to put him into a southpaw stance. Now, he's doing this on purpose because what he likes to do from southpaw is throw that rear body kick. When you're in open stance, left to right, it opens up that body kick beautifully. So by using that teep, that front kick, to not only hit his opponent, but also to push them back and create space, change his stance, and shoot that back leg kick, which he can then land in front, and that puts him back into orthodox. It resets the whole thing again. And finally, the head kick. It's one of Rico's signature techniques, and it's that lead leg head kick. Not a switch kick. Rico likes to just shoot that lead leg straight up to the head, bam, hit to the side of the face. For a heavyweight, this is particularly impressive because normally heavyweights, A, they struggle with flexibility in the first place, so just getting a head kick is impressive. But B, more often than not, they'll utilize either their back leg or a switch kick to help them get the momentum to get their huge muscular legs up to the head. Rico, being as athletic as he is, does have the ability to simply lift that lead leg and clip people in the head. Now, it's not the strongest kick in the world, but you don't need it to be. When your leg is that big, that long, and you're just clipping someone on the jaw, it's often more than enough to at least spark them. And then what it does is it lands you back in your preferred stance, it gets you there quickly, and it lets you get your hands off fast. For combinations, it's classic Dutch style kickboxing. Step in, work the hands, and then finish with a leg kick. He likes to throw his hands up high, 1-2s, 1-2-3s, and then wrap a leg kick around. Whether that be with the back leg or with the lead leg, Rico likes to hit both sides of both legs. He's really versatile in how he mixes in his leg kicks with his hand combinations. This is where you'll see Rico throwing some hook punches. He likes to throw that lead hook to help guide people into that back leg kick. Again, a real classic Dutch style combination, lead arm hook to back leg round to that leg kick. Another combination he really likes to throw is the back leg roundhouse kick, followed immediately by the cross. If you haven't thrown this combination on a bag or in sparring yet, I really recommend going and giving it a try. The first few times you're going to throw it, it's going to feel really awkward because when you throw that kick, you've kind of halfway gone through the motion of the cross as well. So you're not going to feel like you're getting an awful lot of power on it, and you're not necessarily are. But what you are doing is you're throwing something that's particularly unorthodox. It's very rare that people throw this combo, so it also means it's very rare that people practice defending against this combo. Throw that back leg round and immediately with that same side, shoot that cross over the top. If they defend the kick, that means they're probably dropping their arms, leaving an opening on that side for you to come over with that punch. Now in Glory Kickboxing, clinch game is limited. You're not allowed to clinch for a long amount of time, so you'll maybe get a few seconds to work within that clinch. And within that clinch, you are allowed to throw a knee. So you will see Rico clinching up and shooting a knee, whether that be into the thigh or into the body. What he does really nicely is he has an ability to frame people off to one side and bring his knee up to the head. Again, where he has that flexibility, he has that ability to manipulate his opponent, get them over to one side and raise that knee to strike to the side of the head. Really effective, really nice knee. All right, let's quickly finish by talking about the intangibles. One certainly has to be Rico's physique. He's a big, muscular heavyweight. So it doesn't mean that he's carrying a lot of excess fat. It means a lot of what he has is functional moving muscle. And in that division, if you look at a lot of his opponents, the majority of them are slightly overweight and therefore relatively undersized. They carry a big belly and then he has kind of this height and size advantage. His legs are absolutely massive. So you can imagine, A, he's really good at taking leg kicks when people throw them at him, but B, when he throws, you can really feel the impact difference. Now, there's a few exceptions to this. Jamal, when he fought him, Badahari, when he fought him, there's a few exceptions to people who are equal to him in his size, but he does have a certain level of athleticism that he brings to that division. The other intangible is definitely his composure. He has a real good ability to reset himself mid-fight, to be able to take a big hit, to even get rocked, to get cut, and to keep himself calm and focused without losing the game plan. This is really difficult. For any of you that have been hit hard in sparring or been hit hard in a fight, you know how much that's going to affect you, both physically and psychologically. So that ability to stay calm under that pressure, to have bad moments, but to keep the big game, the big picture in mind, that's what makes Rico such an effective kickboxing champion. So there we have it, guys. There's my striker breakdown of the great Rico Verhoeven. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We got new videos coming every week. Let me know who you want the next strikers breakdown to be down in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one.